Together, growing in faith, changing communities.
Together, growing in faith, changing communities. My dear brothers and sisters, I'd like us to reflect on the Gospel of Luke, chapter 16, verses 19 to 31. It's one of the most beautiful Gospel accounts. It's Jesus who speaks to the Pharisees, and he gives them a parable, a story that contains an important message, a story that relates to their lives, a story that they can understand. And so he tells a story and he says there are two people in this story. The first one is a rich man. This rich man was clothed in purple and fine linen. Now, purple and fine linen are an expression of wealth. So he was finely dressed. He had everything. So on this side, there is a rich man who has everything, who feasts every day sumptuously. He always is guaranteed something to eat. And so he will eat more than enough. And now what will happen to this rich man? Having eaten all the meat, all the fatty stuff, and everything, they never brought them a basin or a bowl of soapy water to wash their hands. No. But rather, they will give them freshly baked bread. And that is how they will wipe their hands. They will take the bread and they will wipe the oil and every fat in their bread, in their hands, and then what fell will be the crumbs that the poor will eat. So on this side you have a rich man dressed richly, living a life of a lifetime. On this side you have a poor man whose name is Lazarus. What is he wearing? We don't know, except that his body is covered with sores. So he has sores all over. And so we could argue and say, while the rich man is clothed in purple, the poor man is clothed with wounds and sores. He has food every day. The poor man eats the scraps that fall from the table of the rich man. The irony is, the poor man desired to be fed. He longed to be fed. Another irony, the poor man sat at the gate of a rich man. He saw him every day, or he ought have seen him every day. Between the two, which one are you? Which one am I? The one who has everything going so well that we are blind to the suffering of our brothers and sisters, that we ignore the reality going on right under our noses, that we become those three monkeys that sees nothing, hears nothing, and eventually say nothing. Are we those people who are unbothered, who say, as long as it does not affect me, I don't care? Are we those people who are not moved by justice, by fairness, by truth? Are we those people who say, as long as I have my share, I'm okay? Or are we the poor man. The poor man who has nobody, who has nothing, but who longs for something, who's hungry for something, who's hoping for something, whose whole body is covered in wounds and in sores. The company he keeps are the dogs that lick his body. He has no one but dogs with him. Now you've got to understand this from a Jewish culture. Dogs are dogs. They never associated with dogs. And when we talk about dogs, yes, we could be talking about a four-creature animal, or also we could be talking about a two-legged person, but whose living standard are that of an animal. They have nothing except one thing in common. They lick each other's wounds. They have one thing in common, that they are nobody. They have one thing in common, that they are ostracized. Listen to the scriptures. The poor man dies. He is taken by the angels to heaven. The rich man dies. He is buried. Did you see the discrepancy? The poor man dies, we hear nothing of his funeral. And so it's possible he was never buried. Why? There was no tomb for him. There was no money for him. He died like a dog. And the rich man dies. He's buried. But where does he go to? He goes into a place of torment. Everything we do has consequences. The life I live determines the future of my existence. Now this is one of the most beautiful reading, because if you go deeper into it and try and understand, go back to your own African understanding of death, which is very much similar, if not the same, as the Jewish understanding of death. Where do you go when you die? In an African context, you go back to your family. And the same concept is found in a Jewish culture. Hence you will see and hear how Israel, Jacob, begs his son, and he says to Joseph, if I die in Egypt, take my bones and take them back into the land of my father, so that I am buried with my own family. This man has died. And in his death, he experienced torment. And he asked Abraham, allow Lazarus to come and dip his finger and get me some water, because where I am, it's not good. Do people who have died, do they experience some sort of life? Yes. Do they need help and assistance? Yes. Are they aware of their existence? Yes. What does it say? It says, send someone from here to my brothers who are still alive. I don't want them to come to this place. Can the dead people be concerned about those who are living? Yes. Do they want them to change and be better? Yes. Send someone so that they do not experience this. And Abraham says, even if I do send them, they won't change. And that's the sad part of life. That even if the dead speak to us, we are stubborn. Even if they want us to experience the fullness of life, we are stuck in our lives. And so the story ends sadly that the rich man dies and becomes lonely, and Lazarus finds comfort in God. What will happen to us when we die? How will we experience the fullness of life? I often ask this question. Ubani oyokulanda musushona? Who will take you by the hand and present you to God? You know, in the Catholic Church we have this beautiful thing. Angels of the Lord take him and present him to God the Most High. Saints of God take him and present him to God High. And may you rest in the bosom of Abraham. Who will present you to God? That's the question. And for me, one of the most beautiful experiences, if this woman comes and my grandmother comes and they take me to God,